Hello folks, and welcome back to another Creation Kit Bootcamp video. Today we're just going to look at an overview of the Creation Kit itself. We're going to look at some of the different menu items, the layout of the program itself, and just some of the basic features. We're going to go in far more depth for this later on in the tutorial series when we actually do something really specific that requires more in-depth information. But for now, I just wanted to give you an overview about where things are and, some of the basic information. So I've got the Creation Kit opened here. I haven't opened anything other than the Creation Kit itself. So this is the first thing that you'll see when you load up the Creation Kit. Your windows might be different though. I don't remember what the original layout is, but I've changed mine so that the render window takes up, a good 2/3 of the screen, and the object window is, it's got a substantial amount of real estate because we use the object window quite a lot. And then I have the cell view at the bottom. These are all floating windows, and, you can resize them or whatever you want to do. If you want to have your render window just, on the other side, whatever, it doesn't really matter. It's completely personal preference. The object window, it lists different kinds of assets. You've got different categories. These categories are dependent upon what you have loaded. Right now, I don't have anything loaded, and as you can see in the cell view, we have nothing down here to even select. So that's the first clue. Whenever you load up the Creation Kit, if you can't remember if you opened up Skyrim, that's the first thing that, you always look for. See if you have anything listed down here. See if you have, you're always going to have some stuff listed in your object window, but it's really skimpy. So the first thing that you do, you hit open at the top. You can also go to File. Oops, sorry. You can also go to File and Data, and you want to select Skyrim. Now this is going to list all your other mods that you have. It doesn't necessarily list the ones that are installed, but it'll list the other mods that you have. So I usually, when I'm starting something new and it's just going to be pretty basic, I just do Skyrim and update. And if you are just tinkering around, you don't have to you don't have to have anything. You can save your file later. But if you're continuing on an older mod, say something that you've been working on for a while, you might select that mod and hit save and hit set as active. That way when you save, it goes directly to that file. But since we're not going to be continuing a file, we're going to just make something of our own. We're going to just load Skyrim, the ESM, update.esm. Okay, and this can take a while to load depending on your system. Okay, so one of the things that can happen when you're loading is that you get some error messages. A lot of these error messages are, especially if you're just loading up Skyrim and you're just loading up Update, these error messages are part of the game, and you can fix them. There are fixes for them, but they're not really a big deal. Just hit yes to all and don't worry about it. Okay, and that has loaded. I skipped through a lot of the loading process because it takes quite a while on my computer. Okay, so the first thing that you'll see is that all those categories that we previously saw that were empty, they are now populated with lots of different stuff. And I mean, there's, tons of stuff here. So, and this is in all of the different categories. So that, that you have Skyrim loaded at this point. Also down at the bottom, you can see that we have cells. This is where all of the, world spaces are, all of the interiors, all of the different places that you can actually, go in the game. So, okay, we'll go over a couple of the other details here, starting with the object window. As you can see, there are different categories. The categories are pretty self-explanatory. This is how the game organizes the data. So, you've got everything from climate data, where, it's got different kinds of effects that can be put on an outdoor area, all the way to, actors. These are your NPCs. We've got all of the items. There are books. It's a whole category of books. One of the things that you are able to do is you go up to the filter and you can type in, book, and I've got the book category highlighted. So it will search through that category and bring up everything that has book in the title. You can also go down to the bottom. There's an all category, and you can just search through that, and it will bring up all of the different items in the game that are books that have, they might not be books. I should take that back, but they have book in the title. Well, another thing that you'll notice here, you've got form IDs. Okay, these are specific numbers that reference that particular object or entity in the game. You also have a count window, a count field. This tells you how many times it's used in whatever you have loaded. The most important, the most useful thing, I would say, as a modder is the count field, because, okay, say we're looking for a rock, okay, and we want to use a rock that, that is pretty common, that we've seen many times, because we don't want it to really stand out, right? We want it to look like it really fits in. You can organize it by your count and say, oh, well, these rocks, as you can tell, are used the most in the game. So I'm gonna, pick one that's been used a couple hundred times, because I know that it works, I know it looks good, and I know people won't notice it. So that's kind of one of the useful things off the bat. I should probably put that in the tips and tricks video, though. Let's see, other things. We've got our cell view window. This shows us, first we've got our world space. We can select interiors. These will be all the interiors in the game, or in the mod that you're loading. Then there's also world spaces, and I'm going to talk about world spaces next week in detail, but world spaces can be exteriors. They're usually exteriors. They can be anything from the exterior of the world, which is Tamriel, to, say, a cave interior, which is technically an exterior. That's used for a lot of different things. And then also just some of the other, more isolated sections of the game. And a lot of people use a different world space for various reasons. It gives them a lot more freedom than just using an interior or building within the Tamriel. Oh, and one other thing, you can also select any of the entries in this list, and you can hit a letter and it'll take you right there. Not only that, though, you can start typing something. So, if you wanted to type, let's see, we'll say that we want to find this Heartwood Inn or Heartwood Mill. If you type very quickly HEAR, then it will take you to that right away. So it's a really nice way to find, especially in some of your mods, which are going to be very, very cluttered. So we'll just go to this Heartwood Mill. So this loads you up into the, this is the render window over here on the right side. It loads you up into the Heartwood Mill. So you can select anything just by clicking on them. You can select the rug, the people, whatever. You hold shift down and you use your mouse to move it. So that rotates you up and down and around. That's shift and just your mouse wheel. You don't click on anything. Okay. And then you can use your scroll to move in and out. And you can push your scroll button down, your mouse scroll button down, and pan the camera. So those are your basic controls for moving stuff around. Let's see, you can also zoom in on something. So I just zoomed in on this piece of salmon. You click it, and then you hit Shift and F. So that zooms you right there, Shift and F. So that's very helpful when you're modding. It takes a while to get used to, but you will get used to it. Especially, it's very odd, especially if you're coming from 3ds Max or Maya or something, and you expect the control scheme to be different. But yeah. So, all right, now we've got a person here. I'm going to I'll grab this basket. You can hit W, and that brings up this rotation. You can either use this widget to kind of move it around, just kind of change it into whatever direction. Anyway, the other thing you can do is hit E, and this will let you move objects up and down. And you can also select you can select the basket and use your right mouse click to spin it in the horizontal direction. Let's see. That's the basics of just the very simple kind of movement. I'm going to show you quickly how to drop something into a level. So let's go back to the object window, and I'm going to just find some kind of book. I'll pick up a Wolf Queen book. So you just pick it, you select it, select it, and then you drag it and drop it. And then you can see it, you can select it, hit Shift F, takes you down to the book, hit E in order to get your movement gizmo. You can lift it up above the ground and then hit F, and it will drop it right onto the ground. See, it's flush with the floor. So just review, lift it up and hit F. Say you want to look through some of the furniture, you can, make sure your filter is empty so you're not, looking for a book in the, Dwemer section. We're going to pull out a chair, Control F to zoom in and see what it looks like. Bring out another one, just kind of check them out. You can make your own, little room or whatever and just start going through stuff. You don't actually have to pull them out to do this, though. A lot of people like to. You can just right click on it and hit preview, and that brings up a preview window. Now the preview window, you can also get rid of the ground by hitting G. Oops. You can get rid of the ground by pressing G, or you can just check on and off the ground plane over there. You don't have to hit Shift and your mouse to move around. You just hold your left mouse button down and you move it up and down. If you keep the preview button open, you can look through all the other stuff. It's a good way to look at stuff and see if you can find something that kind of piques your interest. So at this point, you know how to move around. You know the basics of the Creation Kit interface. You don't really need to know all of the specific details. The most important thing is being able to move around, being able to load up different cells, and being able to search through the object window to find new stuff. So that's enough to get you going. You should definitely start looking at some of the other things that Bethesda made. Load up some of these other cells, load up some of the other world spaces. Check out this lists all of the items that's within that cell. So try and look through it, see what they have, see how other things were made, see how things were put together, pull things apart. We will go into more detail as different things come up, and I will definitely start adding some of these things to the tips and tricks series. I've decided that instead of having one big video with a bunch of tips and tricks, I'll just do a couple many, hopefully, very small videos, and that just has very specific tips and tricks. So I'll go ahead and record one of those and upload it in just a moment. Thanks for watching.